Steven and I met on Match.com. Our first date was to Starbucks, and this was completely out of the ordinary for me. And it was probably the best decision that I made. We sat there and talked until we had to leave because they were closing. It was just so easy to talk to him.
Kaylea and I first met. I was in pilot training at Vance Air Force Base in Enid, Oklahoma. The thing I recognized immediately was I could talk to her better than anyone that I'd ever spoken to in my life. The communication just flowed instantly. Some of my favorite things about Kaylea is she is such a good-hearted person, and everyone who's ever met her knows that that's the case instantly. She would do anything for somebody. She's such a great person and has such a great heart. She's beautiful, and we get along so well.
My first impression of Steven was one that he's very cute. He's got beautiful eyes, such a kind person, so talented in so many different ways. I thought that he was just too good to be true. The things that he told me were impossible for one person to be able to do, and he has proved me wrong.
The thing that I'm looking forward to the most on our wedding day is finally getting to see Kaylea in her dress. Not everything that we are doing today or have done has been exactly as per tradition, but they've done a fantastic job of making sure I don't see her dress. And there have been so many close calls where I almost saw it. But I'm very excited. I have no idea how I'm going to feel in that moment. And people have been asking me all day if I'm nervous, and I'm not. But I think when I see her, that's going to be a very nervous time for me.
The bride is my daughter. She's my firstborn. She told me this was going to be the man she married as soon as she met him. They just had so many likes. They liked the same things. They liked the same adventures. They liked to travel. They just had so much in common that there was just so much common ground. She just knew as soon as she met him that there was going to be a future. Steven's different as far as anybody else that Kaylea's dated in the past. He has just always loved her for who she is. He's never made her try to be somebody she is not. He's always in tune with her feelings. He puts her first before anything. The way he treats her is what a mother always dreams of. He treats her like a queen.
I'm Kaylea's little sister. My first impression of Steven was, wow, he looks perfect for Kaylea. I know the story of how they met because I was on the phone with her that next day, hearing all about how wonderful this coffee date was from Match.com guy. And there was something different in her voice. She'd never talked like that about anybody before.
The bride is my daughter. I look forward to seeing the happiness on both their faces. They've had a tough road apart through Steven's training, and so I look forward to their time together now. I think Steven and Kaylea are spitting images of each other personality-wise. I think they're perfect for each other. They complement each other.
I'm so excited to marry my best friend today. I think we're similar in many ways where we put others before ourselves. I love how he treats me in a way that no other man has treated me. I've never felt more beautiful until I met Steven. He puts me first. He shows me that he loves me. He tells me that he loves me. I can't even list all the things that I love about him. His personality, his sense of humor, his wittiness, his intelligence. I love everything about Steven.
I know in years to come, we're both giving people and we care about each other so much and we look out for each other. And I know that those are the things that are going to carry us through. If I could somehow picture myself coming back in time to tell me how to have a successful life and marriage with Kaylea, I would imagine that I would say try to keep the communication that we have now. We're both givers. We want to make sure that the other one is okay. Even when it's hard, we talk about it. And we make sure that we know how the other one is feeling. And we try to make it right.
In all honesty, we have never fought. We have our disagreements, we have our arguments, but we have always talked through them and worked it out.
I am not the most organized person, and Kaylea likes things in neat rows and in baskets and with file folders and label makers. I am not always punctual, and Kaylea is 30 minutes early to everything.
I am very punctual, very on time, don't like to be late, very organized, and he is a little more laid back. Definitely takes the different road than I do. He doesn't worry about those things. When we get there, we get there. We can organize it later. I'll find that paper in this stack when I need it. So.
From the first moment that I met Kaylea, we could talk about anything, and I love that. There were no blank spaces in our communication. We could freely talk about how each other feels, and I love the empathy that we share for each other. I can put myself in Kaylee's shoes, and she can put herself in my shoes.
Stephen is very respectful of Kaylea. Seems to just do whatever it takes to make her happy, and we adore him for that. Advice for the couple would be respectful of each other, be best friends first, and enjoy every day. Don't look past the day. Never forget the first two things.
It took a long time for me to get around to proposing to Kaylea, and not because I wasn't sure, but because I wanted it to be perfect, and also I wanted it to be a surprise. And if there's anything Kaylea hates, it's a surprise that she knows is coming.
He had talked to my dad and Trisha and wanted to surprise me at Bedlam. And Bedlam is the OU-OSU big Oklahoma rivalry. And he was supposed to come and join us for dinner afterwards. So we get there and we're up in the stands, and my dad comes out from underneath, and I see this blue hat come out, and I think, oh, that's so sweet. A service member got to come to the game.
And I turned around and I was in full Air Force service dress, and I had the officer's cap.
And he turned around and it was my service member. Stephen ran up the steps, skipping 2 or 3 at a time, and came up, and it was such a blur I couldn't even tell you what he said to me at that time.
I asked her if she would be my wife, and I gave her her perfect ring that she loves.
I was in shock, and he got down on one knee and he asked me to marry him.
And she said yes. And the best part is that her parents kept it a secret from her.
December 3rd will always be such an important day to me. Down the road, looking ahead, talking to ourselves, I would say that we should continue to enjoy each other. We should continue to travel. We should, hopefully by then we'll have kids. We should travel and see our kids. I know that things won't change very much for us. We love each other so much, and we have both waited a very long time for this. He's definitely a godsend.
What I think is unique about Stephen and Kaylea is that they are such a rare love to find and to see in the world, because they literally are so perfect for each other. They're yin and yang, they're peanut butter and jelly, they collaborate, they're a team, they are always in support of each other, and it's so hard to find these days. And they even look super compatible. I mean, if I could have pictured in my head a guy that my sister was going to marry someday, it would be Stephen, for sure.
Most unique thing about them is the way they are just one. One can say something and the other one can finish it before they can even finish. They just have such a connection that it's beautiful.
Stephen, I am so excited to marry my best friend today. I have waited 29 years to meet someone like you. I know that we are going to have the most incredible life together. You are going to be an incredible husband, a fantastic father, and I know that you will always put your family first. And I am so lucky to have you in my life. I couldn't picture anybody else up on the altar with me. Here's to 50 more years of happy bliss. Hopefully more than 50.